Hey, Alex here. Sports the NEMO way, coming your way with our first episode. Kawhi Leonard is the source of debate, and Wade will be making his case. Since Wade is the only one of us to include him on his 50 greatest players list. But before I turn things over to Wade and his opening remarks, let's go over Kawhi's career a little bit. Kawhi Leonard, the 6'7", 225-pound small forward that has played for the San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, and Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi has won 2 NBA titles, one with the Spurs and one with the Raptors. He's never won an MVP. He's a 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 6 times All-Defense, a 2-time Finals MVP. He was taken 15th in the draft and has played 9 seasons in the NBA thus far. His career averages are 18, 6, and 2 on 49% shooting. Now I turn things over to Wade to tell us why Kawhi is a top 50 player all time. Wade has him ranked all the way up at 31st. So Wade, what do you have for us?
Oh, I got all kinds of good stuff. All right. Well, your intro actually kind of took away a little bit of what I was trying to do. Big old turd. All right. Well, honestly, I really just had about 3 big points. I was going to say his career stats, but Alex beat me to it. So, anyway. He actually has kind of a interesting career arc. He actually came into the league as a very not very good offensive player, but was very athletic, very raw offensively, but was a great defensive player, which I think is kind of rare. But I think he developed into something that I think is very rare, which is kind of my first. I have pretty much 3 points I'm going to hit on, and my first point out of the 3 is, it took about 4 to 5 years for him to hit his, I think, offensive peak. Probably about 5 years, probably when he was going to be elite offensively. I think he hit about 23, 24 points per game, probably. Someone can correct me if I'm a little off. But it was probably about, I think, year 5 when he became elite offensively.
In year 5, he averaged 21 points a game.
Okay, so that's when he started the offensive, becoming somewhat elite offensively, and then it escalated from there. But I am well aware he started off slow offensively, but was a tremendous defensive player for the first. Well, I mean, his whole career he's been a tremendous defensive player, and it took him a while, which is kind of affects his career stats. I'm well aware he averaged 18 points a game for his career. So for the first person who wants to hit on that, you can come on home. I'm aware he averaged 18 points a game. One, it's going to go up over the next 3 or 4 years to probably 20, 21, 22 points per game. Yeah, you shake your hand all you want, Alex. And then, okay, guys. But anyway, but I think he also did something that I think probably half the people on this list, if not even less, has done, which he hit an elite status, which he became the best defensive player in the NBA and a top probably 10 offensive player in the game, which I don't think half the players on this list can even touch, or maybe 70% of players can touch. So that was point number 1. Point number 2, which I'm just going to briefly hit on, it's not a big point, but he's actually extremely efficient, which I think people are very underrated about. Even when he wasn't averaging 27 points per game, when he was averaging 8, 12, 14, 16 points per game, he was still averaging close to 50% field goal percent shooting, about 38, 39, maybe 37% three-point land, and hovered between 80, 85 on free throws, which is very good. For comparison, he has the same field goal percentage for his career as Larry Bird. He has a higher three-point percentage than Larry Bird. Alex is number 2. And a couple points below Larry Bird in free throws. So we'll just throw that out there because fuck Alex. And then number 3, which is my third point. My most important point. Just go through his accomplishments, and his postseason success, which I think is most important. we will redo what Alex said, which is 4-time All-Star, 1-time Steals champion, 2-time NBA champ, 4-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive Team, All-Rookie Team, All-Star Game MVP, two-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner, and 2-time Finals MVP. And I also think he's one of the greatest postseason performers of all time, which I can let you know on some knowledge real quick. He is playoff plus minus for his career is already 5th all time, second among small forwards. Playoff win shares per 48 minutes is 4th all time, second among small forwards, higher than Larry Bird. And he's also one of 6 players of all time to ever average 30 points per game at play 500 minutes and have a 60-plus true shooting percentage in a single postseason, joining only LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Alex English, and Shaq, not Larry Bird. So, that is my opening statement.
Well,
Thank you.
thanks, Wade. I guess I would just throw it over to Drew, being our youngster here. He's been able to watch Kawhi his whole career. Kawhi, why didn't Kawhi make your list, Drew?
I don't know. I just don't see Kawhi being one of the greatest 50 players of all time. He just, I feel like he doesn't set a good example, not playing all the time. He sits games out for what? Hurt knee?
He sits games out and wins championships, bro.
He's won 2 championships.
That's more than Bob Pettit.
Who Drew has ranked 13th all time.
We'll get to Bob Pettit later. He's way better. He's way better than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi wasn't even the best player on the Spurs team. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker.
No, I don't deny that one bit. He was not the best player on the Spurs, but he
The
was on the Raptors.
The Raptors were playing the Warriors, but Kevin Durant's hurt. Klay Thompson's hurt.
That still leaves like 2 more All-Stars.
Ooh, Draymond Green.
But
Steph Curry.
But what kind of team did he play when he was on the Raptors in the finals? Broke down
The
Warriors
dynasty
team?
that was the Golden State Warriors?
The broke down, not dynasty anymore.
I would say he had Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry.
Your arguments, Serge Ibaka? Please. Okay.
Pascal Siakam.
That averaged like 12 points a game. It's fine. It's okay.
Well, Ray jumped in there. Uncle Doug, you got anything to say?
Well, I took a little different tack when I was looking at the defense against Kawhi. I looked at my last 2 guys on my small forward list, and that's Adrian Dantley and Dominic Wilkins. And you were talking about Kawhi was getting his scoring together, and he got it up to 21 for a season.
He got up to like 27 or 28 eventually.
Okay. Well, Adrian Dantley averaged over 24, and Dominic almost 25 for their career.
I am not arguing about Adrian Dantley because you and me are boys on Adrian Dantley.
Okay.
So Adrian Dantley was a scoring mofo. But
So anyway, that was part of my reason. I was looking at, I think part of what we've done is doing the 10 best at each level. Some things are going to be stronger than other positions, and this is one that has some pretty good players.
I agree.
And so I thought Kawhi was good. I'm not against Kawhi. I just thought my other 10 were a little higher.
I'm just going to, my main points were just that he's accomplished more in a short period of time than a lot of players accomplish in a long period of time. I think his peak value is better than a lot of other players' peak value. Can you name 10 players on the list that was the best defensive player in the league and a top 10 offensive player in the league?
Sidney Moncrief was the best defensive player in the league for quite a while. He's not on anybody's list.
Yeah. Okay. That's one person.
Okay. I'll dismantle you real quick.
That's fine.
Kawhi's played in the league for 9 seasons.
Yeah.
But he set out a year, so really it's only about 8 years. He's played in 524 of a possible 738 games in his career.
Okay.
That's 214 missed games, almost a third of his career. That's 134 less games than Pistol Pete.
No one cares if you're still winning, big boy.
That's only 56 more games than Bill Walton played in his entire career.
Still, no one cares.
Um,
If I can say something, Bill Walton and Kawhi have the same amount of titles, so
that's also true.
Kawhi was okay. All right, that's fair.
And Kawhi hurts himself. Kawhi will never win an MVP if he only plays 55, 60 games a season.
He just wins Finals MVPs. Keep going.
Kawhi's career stats are very unimpressive due to his short career.
I already went over this. We already know.
I
We
got
already
it.
know.
I got it. But he's constantly missing games to his injuries and load managing.
He misses games so he can kick your old ass in the playoffs. It's fine.
that's not what the Denver Nuggets said last year.
How many championships they had in the past 40 years? Kawhi has 2.
Well, let me get here real quick. If Kawhi Leonard scores 3,000 more points in his career, which is possible, he could do that easily over the next 2 seasons, he would be 250th all time in points. If he scores 3,000 more. So the next 2 seasons, he might crack the top 250 points scorers of all time. If Kawhi Leonard grabs 2,000 more rebounds, which would be at least a couple seasons, because that's 2/3 of his career rebounds right now after 9 seasons, that would also put him at 250th all time. If Kawhi dishes out 1,400 more assists, which would double his career, he would be 250th all time. But hey, last year he got his assist numbers up a little bit, so maybe it's a trend. I don't know. Then Kawhi's steal numbers. He is actually 213th all time in steals, so he's actually on the list already this time. But if Kawhi blocks 180 more shots, he will also be 250th all time. All that collectively is just a giant ouch.
Are you done? So I can make it look dumb. Are you ready?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So you're telling me that he's had a short career and hasn't accomplished too much. I'm looking at your top 50 list. If you combine his accomplishments and the analytics that I already told you, which he's done things that only one of 6 players have done. He's already top 2 among small forwards and multiple things. He's already accomplished more than Chris Bosh, Reggie Miller, Vince Carter, Pau Gasol, our next argument. That's nice. Dwight Howard, Gary Payton, your boy, T-Mac. Shall I keep going, or do you want me to just stop?
Other than I know he has a couple championships, but I mean, what is
Finals MVPs, best players on the championship team, Defensive Player of the Year awards, Finals MVPs, plus minus awards in the postseason. I can keep going. Just keep telling me.
So let's look at his per game stats then, because it's
We're
obviously
going to go back to his career stats, like I said in the beginning, which, okay, that's fine.
But let's think about it here. It's an advantage to look at a current player's per game stats because they should be better.
No, he started off
than
his
the guy that's
career.
retired.
He started off his career as a defensive specialist, just doesn't show up on a stat sheet. So, no, not really.
So in order to win your argument, you have to. Your argument is he's good at things that don't show up.
Championships, big dog. They show up on your fingers. How many does T-Mac got? 0. He's on your list. How many does Gary Payton got? Oh, he's got one as a backup. Oh, how many does Reggie Miller got? 0. Ah, that sucks to sting, don't it? Yeah.
So stats don't matter. Gotcha. Okay.
Being the best player on championship does. T-Mac didn't accomplish that, big boy.
He was only the best on one of his teams.
Well, not only that, but T-Mac never played on a team with near the amount of talent that Toronto team.
Oh, because Kyle Lowry is just unbelievable. He makes top 50 in anyone's list.
8-time All-Star.
Oh, okay.
Marc Gasol, another multi-time All-Star.
Okay, let's just keep going. I mean, Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh never achieved the things that he did.
You're talking
All
about,
on your list. I'm
you're
looking
talking about
directly
one
at your
thing,
list.
Being the best player on a championship.
Because that matters.
It does
That
matter.
matter. You just talked about before the podcast started how much it matters. Oh, it matters, big boy.
But it's
It
not
matters.
the only thing that matters.
But was he really the best player on both those championships?
No, he was the best on one. He was the best on one.
Right.
Duncan or Tony Parker was the
We've
best on the
gotta
other.
be careful of putting everything into championships Because
No,
you have
I'm
really
not.
good players that played on teams that weren't that great.
Russell.
Because if we go with just championships,
You
we
talking
might
about
as well
Pagazol?
give the 50 Celtics
Huh?
the whole top list.
Big shot.
No, I'm making one point with Alex because he keeps pointing out his career stats or how he hasn't accomplished things over a total amount of time. I'm telling you right now, he's, let me repeat this, one of 6 players ever to average 30 points per game, play 500 minutes, and have a 60-plus true shooting percentage in a single postseason with Shaq, LeBron, Jordan,
Okay,
Kareem,
Let me ask
and
you
Alex English.
I get that. And
He's one of the greatest postseason performers ever. There's not debating that. I have like 5 stats that prove it.
Kawhi Leonard has had some great postseasons under his
Yeah,
career,
yeah.
or at least one great postseason. I don't know if he's had any more, but he's had one great postseason under his career.
And the other
But-
ones,
but
he's been
we're
very
pointing-
efficient.
We're pointing to, you keep repeatedly pointing to one season in his career and saying this is what makes him great. If one season makes you great, Bill Walton might be the greatest player of all time.
What separates Tim Duncan from Charles Barkley? Championships, big boy.
But 5, not 1.
Yeah, 1 separates from 0. That's why I'm pointing out the bottom of your list. Zeros.
Well, maybe, but a lot of those
Yeah.
guys don't play the same.
I'm just talking about the top 50. I'm not talking about top 10. I'm about top 50. I'm pointing out the zeros, the bottom of your list.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is you're not really debating me here on this. Does one season make him better than somebody that had 15 good seasons?
If he accomplished more in that season, maybe.
I'm just gonna have to. I guess we're just gonna have to disagree because I don't think one great season propels you to.
Okay,
the
first of all, let's not
ultimate.
act like he had one great season. He's been a all-defensive team 6 times, an All-NBA player 4 times, an All-Star 4 times. Yes, I agree. His offensive game was not good for, 4 years, 5 years? It took a while for it to come on. I'm not disagreeing with that. There's nothing I can do to disagree with that. But even when he wasn't an offensive force, he was very efficient. He shot very well and was one of the best defensive players in the entire league. And then he had this combination in the middle where he was winning Defensive Player of the Year award every year and averaging over 20 points per game, which is very rare. Try and name 5 players on your list that's done the same thing. Go for it. Look at your list. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Well, hold on.
I know a few, but not.
I do have a list of guys over here that won multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards that are on nobody's list. Dikembe Mutombo, Sidney Moncrief, Ben Wallace.
2 out of those 3
Gobert,
sucked ass at
Mourning.
offense.
But you just said you knew for the first.
My
5 years
point
of his
was
career
he
wasn't.
was the best defensive player in the league and an elite offensive player. I don't care about Ben Wallace averaging 6 points a game. I don't care about that. That's not my point. Sidney Moncrief, you got an argument. The other ones, no, you got nothing.
Lonzo Mourning was a good offensive player.
Okay, 18 points per game. Don't care about it.
You mean Kawhi Leonard's career average?
Oh, you mean Kawhi Leonard averaging 27 points a game? Look up Lonzo Mourning. He never averaged that. Never touched it.
Okay.
We can
so,
keep going, bro.
Oh, I'm still here. You haven't convinced me of anything. All you convinced me is
I
this
feel like-
had one historic season, and the rest of his career was mediocre.
I've convinced you of multiple things, I feel like. He made 6 all-defensive teams. That's rare.
6 all that's nothing to shake a stick at, man.
So that's one good
an
season?
accomplishment.
That's one good season?
No, one great season.
Okay, one great season?
Because every argument you're making is about one season.
Because in that one season, he's accomplished more than half of your... okay, not half. That's unrealistic. But he's accomplished more than what you consider to be great in half of your list. We just talked about it before the podcast started.
Okay, so first off, to our listeners, a lot of this is a little misleading. We there has to be 10 of each position on our list.
Okay,
So
true.
him being on there ahead of Reggie Miller or T-Mac, who are shooting guards and he's a small forward, is not really the argument we're trying to make
That's true.
here. So I'm not even poking at Wade. I'm really not. I'm just trying to explain so the listeners can understand a little bit better.
Okay, I have a... I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm trying to prove a point. What is the difference between Dirk Nowitzki and Kawhi Leonard? Tell me. I want to know.
Well, a fantastically long career, I would assume.
So
I
just longevity, but Kawhi's accomplished more. He has more awards.
He has an MVP.
Okay.
Dirk, I mean.
Kawhi has 2 Finals MVPs. Dirk has 1. What's the difference? Dirk is very high on everyone's list. Kawhi is on no one else's but mine.
You're talking about a guy that's 5th all time in scoring.
Okay, one played for a long time. One's only played 10 years so far.
Exactly. So he hasn't accomplished as much.
But he's accomplished more in other ways.
Yes. We're going back to he was the best player on the finals team. So was Dirk. He was he was a role player.
No, you're focusing on that. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, what I'm saying, he was a role player.
Does Dirk Nowitzki have 6 all-defensive teams? No. Does Dirk have 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards? No. Does he have 2 Finals MVPs? No. So Kawhi has accomplished more.
We can all nitpick because what's Dirk averaged over 12 times his career.
Oh,
Kawhi's
easy.
only done it 4 times.
Yeah.
So
One played 20 years, one's played 10.
Exactly.
Yeah. But in certain ways, Kawhi still accomplished more already. That's my point.
He was the 4th best player on a finals team. And
Let's not go too far.
Dirk was never asked to do that. Dirk was asked to be the best player on a finals team every year, pretty much.
And Kawhi has still accomplished more in other ways. Yes, I'm not saying Kawhi is better than Dirk. That's not my point. My point is you can make comparisons in certain ways, and Dirk is very high, I think, on everyone's list. Am I wrong?
I believe
He is
you're
high on
correct.
everyone's list.
I believe
Kawhi has accomplished more in certain ways than Dirk. That is one of my points. I'm not saying he's better than Dirk. I'm not saying that. I love Dirk. Dirk's one of my favorite players. I have Dirk maybe higher on everybody.
Where do I have Dirk at? All I know is I have Bob Pettit ahead of Dirk.
I have. I know you. We have the Bob Pettit lover. Well,
Bob?
I have Dirk actually higher than you have Bob Pettit. I have Dirk at 12. So I love Dirk. I think Dirk is better than Kawhi Leonard. I'm not being stupid, but I'm just trying to prove a point. As in, yes, I'm not sitting here saying Kawhi Leonard is better than Dirk. I'm saying there are certain things you can point at saying Dirk is already in 10 years compared to 20. He has accomplished more than Dirk did. That's all I'm saying. Not 1 year. I know the 1 year was really good, but especially defensively, he's accomplished a lot more than a lot of players on our lists. And he's gotten to a status offensively where he is now elite offensively, which makes him, I think, in rare territory.
Well, there's no denying Kawhi's prowess on defense. And to say that Kawhi or that Dirk was a better defender than Kawhi would be blasphemy.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's not a case I'm even trying to make here, and I'll never try. But I also think okay. Although Kawhi has accomplished a fair amount, and I'm not trying to take that away from him. Let's not get this shook. I'm not trying to sit here and say Kawhi Leonard's garbage. Because that case may be made. In a couple weeks
I think
somebody else.
here's our problem is, I think I'm sitting here thinking he's already accomplished what I think is enough to get him in the top 50 in 10 years, and I think you are kind of looking at it in he's done a lot already, but he needs to do a little bit more because he's only played 10 years. But in my opinion, in those 10 years, I think he's already done more than some players on our list. That's just my opinion.
I think part of what you said is right. I think you're looking at him that he's already done enough. And with me, I think he needs to show me more.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's what I'm looking at. I mean, I was doing comparison with the bottom 2 guys on my small forward because I tried to just focus on comparing him to those guys. And like Alex mentioned earlier, he played 528 games.
Yeah.
Dantley's played 955. Dominic Wilkins over 1,000. Now, when Kawhi's played 900 games or 1,000 games, he may be way above those guys on my list if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Which might take him 18 years at this rate.
Oh, let's stop it, Alberta.
No, I mean, he's played 9 years and he's got 500 games.
I am well aware he game manages, but he does game manage for the playoffs because of that chronic knee injury.
Here's my thing, bud. I'm leveling with you here. If Kawhi wins a couple more championships, Kawhi is going to vault up this list.
Well, I think if he wins
Yeah.
one more, I think he jumps up.
You might be right. If
That's 3 different teams.
He will be unanimously on everybody's list if he wins another championship.
I
and if he
think
wins the second one, he'll vault elite into this.
Well, I just think already. I think like when I look at the bottom of everyone's list, I'm not sitting here saying Kawhi. Okay, I might have ranked him too high at 30. What happened? 31.
31, yes.
All right, that might have been a little premature. I'll give you that. But I still, top 50. Like I'm looking at the bottom of everyone's list, and I feel like already yes. As far as career stats like total points or total rebounds, obviously he's not going to touch everyone else we have are on our list.
Can I
But as
cut in
far
for a
as
second?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that by load managing and sitting out back-to-backs and all these things,
Yeah.
Kawhi is sacrificing statistics and achievements to win titles?
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause that's why he does it. He does it for the postseason because he has that chronic knee injury from old Zaza that old got the best of him.
Truth.
It actually has seen like I strongly feel about certain people in today's NBA. I think they're weak. I think it's a weak NBA. I think people get injury prone over weak stuff. He just had this weird thing where someone stuck a leg underneath him and he got this chronic injury that never went away. He's actually a very physical player. His defense is physical. His offense is actually very physical. He actually pushes you around with his elbows and hands to get to his position. And he's an animal in the mid-range. But he just has this weird chronic knee thing that just hasn't gone away in 4 years. And they've never even come out and said what it is.
Well, I think that's part of
So I
Kawhi's
don't-
problem with his legacy is that we don't know so much. You have to guess. And when you guess things like this, like you said, then you're like, well, is he just weak, or is he just being a punk about it? Because
At first, I'll be honest. When he first left San Antonio, I was like, "Oh, this guy's being," I won't say the word, but he's not being very tough. And then, but when he went into Toronto, and then when he was playing every day and played over 500 minutes, like I said in my opening statement, he was limping up and down the court for like a series and a half, and still killing people. He did this thing with his hands and his arms where he shut down the MVP of the league, who was bigger, stronger, and faster than him, and shut him down and averaged over 30 points per game and shot over 50% on Giannis. And Giannis was the MVP. Shut him down like no other to go to the finals, and then beat Steph Curry and Draymond. I'll admit, Durant got hurt. He was the best player who would have kicked someone's ass, but. And then Clay got hurt, halfway through or something. But
And it still took him 6-7 games to beat him.
really, Bob Pettit, you're one championship and go sit in the chair.
well, here's my thing. I think if you're going to sacrifice your statistics and sacrifice MVP awards, because essentially he's doing that as well.
What?
You,
Okay.
Hold on just a
Oh,
second.
okay.
He's going to have to continue to win. And
I agree.
And last year, although it was only 1 year, I think the national media has completely overreacted to last year's fold up in the
I agree.
playoffs. But last year was a shock to that. Like,
Well, I
can't
also think-
manage all year and then big bounce in the second round.
Well, I also think, I agree. If you're going to sacrifice for the postseason, you got to at least win or come close to winning. But he was carrying them because Playoff P was struggling real hard. And then Harrell can't play defense on a post in the ground, and it was just the worst.
Lou Williams.
And Lou Williams needs to be benched all playoffs, and he was averaging almost 30 points per game in the playoffs, shooting like 46-47%. And then he did have a bad game 7 against the Nuggets, but it should have never been there if his team just would have performed. Playoff P just needs to step up a little bit and be playoff P in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
So let me ask you this: would you like to defend the current stuff out there about Kawhi?
Depends on what you're hinting at.
Well, like all the drama in Clipperland, him not being a leader.
He's definitely not an outspoken leader. I think everyone knows he's not outspoken. That's pretty obvious. But you don't, just because one team got upset 1 year, everyone's freaking out. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and LeBron James lost to just Dirk Nowitzki and J.J. Barea their first year in Miami. It happens. It's okay.
Oh, like I said,
Teams rebound. It'll be all right.
I completely agree they've overblown the loss. But some of this stuff is kind of damning, I think, especially when you combine it all together.
Kawhi is not a vocal leader. Let's not pretend like he is. I'm not saying that.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like none of us are going to say he's a leader. Like
No.
nobody thinks
He
Kawhi
doesn't even
Leonard-
talk. That's right.
But let's look at some of these other things. These were all reported. I didn't just look them up on a blog or something. Kawhi hired his own security and his own trainers and refuses to use the ones the rest of the team is required to use, which by itself I don't think is a big deal. But when you throw the rest of these things in there, I think it is a little bit of an issue. Like, he got special permission to live in San Diego when the rest of the team was required to live in L.A.
Well, he's from San Diego.
No,
That's his home.
No, I get it. But I mean, but when you're holding up planes and practices because you live too far away and you can't get there on time.
He got a private helicopter after a while.
Kobe style.
Yeah. Well, let's not bring that up. That's too soon.
No, I wasn't even talking. That's not what I meant. I meant Kobe flew to the stadium all the time. I wasn't trying to bash Kobe by any means. But then they also reports that Kawhi has say over practices and will call the facility and cancel practices without talking to his teammates.
Yeah.
Great leadership.
I never heard that, but yeah.
And Kawhi and Paul George insist on going to do their treatment, like their physical treatment on their bodies, before doing their media responsibilities, which leaves guys like Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Zubats to
The guys that suck in the playoffs.
to be the guys doing most of the media and really being the voice of the team.
Okay, first of all, let's not talk about playoff B. He needs to work on his game. But
This is the guy that Kawhi held the franchise hostage to get.
You are correct, and let's be honest, he regrets that right now. Playoff P really fell off real hard. And to be honest, I mean, yeah, a lot of that looks bad, but okay. I mean, Kyrie Irving left Cleveland because LeBron was doing the same stuff. You get that's all come out
Hold on.
slowly throughout the years right now.
Bro. The national media told me that LeBron James is the greatest leader of every leader of all leaders of all time.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, okay. We'll get to that later in the show.
Well, you keep bringing up all this points about Kawhi being so good in the playoffs, and the rest of the team sucks. Maybe the rest of the team actually plays the whole season while Kawhi sits there and watches them.
Ouch.
Oh, is that it? Oh. Yeah, the year before that, they lost in 6 games to the Warriors in the first round.
They lost in the first round.
They at least made it farther the next year with Kawhi.
Not very far. The Denver Nuggets had
The year before that, Kawhi won the finals, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, against Steph and Draymond.
While
He has him and
Kyle
Kyle Lowry.
Lowry was clearly the leader of that team, and it was laden with veterans who he didn't have to lead.
But was the best player.
He was the best player.
Do you know Larry Bird once lost Finals MVP?
To Cedric Maxwell?
Indeed.
Yes, he did.
Oh no! Does that mean he's not the leader?
No, but
Was Kevin McHale the leader or Red Auerbach the leader? We don't know this.
The fact that Cedric had a great playoff doesn't put him on my top 50.
Yeah.
Same way with James Worthy. I'm a Laker fan. I love James Worthy. And I'd love to put him on my top 50. But just because he played great in one playoff, I didn't put him on there.
Yeah, but he's also not one of 6 players to have the greatest playoff performance ever.
When you miss 30 games in the regular season, you're going to be the best player in shape.
Oh, wow. This
you
is
should be
getting dark.
rested anyway.
Yeah, he was rested to have a great performance.
Hey, man, I'm just going to give my closing thoughts on Kawhi Leonard. Or actually, let's all give our closing thoughts on Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, go ahead. I'll go last.
Drew, what are your closing thoughts here?
I don't think he's the top 50 player of all time until he stops taking too many games off and all this stuff. I mean, yes, he's probably the best. He's definitely the best player on the Clippers team. He doesn't choke like old playoff P, but
Who's not coming off good in this podcast.
He's not making the top 50 anytime soon.
playoff P did not make the list. I'm just telling everybody right now. Yeah, I just don't see how he's top 50 over Paul Rising or
Oh my God.
Paul Rising.
I do believe it's arson. But Uncle Doug, what are your thoughts?
No one cares.
I like Kawhi. I really do. He just didn't make my top 10 small forward, and so then he's not on my top 50. Given time, if he keeps playing like he has, he will be. I just don't think he's there yet.
Ray, what do you think?
Well, the way I comprised my list was well-balanced players. Kawhi's not there yet. He's not balanced.
What does balance mean to you?
To me,
Defense and offense.
no, there's way more than that.
What else is in the game?
There's
Free throw shooting?
free throws, 3-point, total stats. I mean, let's look at Charles Oakley. He's 22 on the rebounds list. Where's Kawhi at? Not there.
Higher than Reggie Miller.
On rebounds?
Yes, and assist, and probably scoring.
I don't know because the list doesn't go below 250.
I don't know. I was just guessing.
Anything else? Rick?
And I mean, impact player. I mean, we can look at Jordan and we can look at Bird, and they can take over a game. But where was he at last year, and a couple years before that?
Winning championships.
He
The
has
year
2
before that?
championships.
Just because he won titles doesn't mean he took over games or any kind of impact in that regard at all.
All right. Well, here's my deal, Willard. I like Kawhi, and I think he has a ton of potential to vault his way up this list. Like I said earlier, I personally just didn't think outside of the championships, the rest of his career is lacking in a lot of areas, statistically, longevity, things like that, and I think he can easily make the list. I'm just not comfortable putting him there yet, and I think that's where I stand as of right now. So since he's your player and we all give our closing thoughts, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close down Kawhi Leonard?
I mean, not really. I mean, I thought I proved most of my points. My main points were pretty much his postseason performances, the way he's played when he wasn't yet elite offensively, how good he was on defense, which made up for it, which I think is rare. My main 2 points really were his overall postseason stats and his ability to be the best defensive player in the league and an elite offensive player in the league at the same time, which I think is very rare. Apparently no one else gives a fuck about that, so we're just going to look past that. But, yeah, I mean, apparently you all are just waiting for him to go in the top 50. I think he's already on the top 50. I think he's I understand somebody else. I understand he game manages. I think he game manages just over a weird injury that just kind of messed up one of his knees. It happens, I guess, He does play in the weakest era of the NBA, maybe besides the 60s.
Truth.
So, that's just the truth, yeah. But I also think he's accomplished more than I think a good portion of not the top, but the bottom of a lot of people's lists. I think he's already accomplished more, even in his 10 years in game managing. I still think he's accomplished more than most people's bottom of all their lists. But everyone thinks what they think. It's all right, and we can just end it with that, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to civilly discuss Kawhi Leonard for the most part. I don't know that Willard necessarily changed anybody's mind, but he put up a hell of a fight on the way there.
My mind's not fucking disagreeing.
But we're going to change gears on you guys, and we're going to go into a segment that we would like to do every week that we think would be a lot of fun, and we are going to ask some trivia questions to each other. Each of us will ask one question, and we're going to keep score of this and over the course of the 50 Greatest Players episodes, and name a winner at the end. It'll probably be me, but we'll name a winner. And since I brought this up, I will go ahead and kick it off as long as everybody's cool with that. And we're going to allow everybody to answer, and then we'll move on to somebody else. My question is, what player from some of our lists was once arrested for FedExing a box of weed to his house?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
This sounds very familiar.
Anybody like to gander a guess? Because I got a lot
Yes,
of.
I would.
Okay.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp. A worthy guess. I'm not going to tell you the answers yet until everybody guesses, though.
I'm going Sean Kemp.
I was going to go with Sean Kemp too. That sounds right.
I'm going with Ray.
Well, we have 4 guesses of Sean Kemp. And the correct answer is Robert Parrish.
Oh, never expected that from Parrish.
Wow.
I believe it was in 91 after Bird and McHale were gone.
That must be how he got his nickname, the Chief.
That's why he was so laid back.
Actually, in Bill Simmons' book, The Book of Basketball, he actually makes that case that the reason he never talked and was so laid back why Bird was so high strung was because he was high all the time. And Bill Simmons is a huge Celtics fan, so I mean he was just talking like it is. Anybody want to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Can you all name the 5 players that I named 2 or 3 times that averaged 30 points per game, played 500 minutes, and shot 60% true shooting percentage besides Kawhi Leonard?
How many do we have to name?
5.
Alex English.
We can go one at a time.
Alex English, LeBron, Michael, Shaq. Not Larry Bird. You big letter said not Larry.
5, 4, 3,
Yeah, I don't know if that's
2.
one.
All right, let's move on.
Uncle Doug, you got a guess?
Yeah, you got me.
You don't know the other one?
Yeah, I don't know who the other one is.
Ray?
Can I get a repeat of the question?
I named multiple times that there was only 6 players ever in NBA history to average over 30 points per game, play over 500 minutes, and have over a 60% true shooting percentage in postseason history. Kawhi Leonard is one. Can you name the 5 others?
Duncan?
No.
All right. Is the other one Chamberlain?
No. The last one was Jabbar.
Dang.
I thought Uncle Doug had it in the book.
Good question, Wade. Drew?
You know my question? All right. My question is, who leads the NBA in turnovers in all time?
Karl Malone.
I'm going to also go Karl Malone.
I really feel Karl coming on.
He played forever. He had the ball a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Ray? Doug? Anybody?
I'm waiting.
Yeah, let's try Carl. Let's give Carl a shot.
Are we going all Karl? Uncle Doug?
Well, it's going to be James Harden before long because
Right.
Or Russell Westbrook, shout out.
Yeah, well, Westbrook's on his way down though. Harden breaks the single season turnover record every year right now. He just re-breaks it every year.
Good thing it's on my list.
I don't know. I'll pass on that one.
It is Karl Malone.
Yes!
Okay, so
You know who number 2 is on the list?
Oh.
LeBron James.
Oh.
Ooh, already?
wow, all right. Well, I mean, this is year 18, so I mean, I don't know if already is. I mean, LeBron's been in the league a while,
Right, that's true.
but
Should have joined the club, Uncle Doug. Should have said Karl.
I know. I thought
Yeah.
it'd be somebody else.
who would like to go next?
I don't know how I knew that so fast.
I thought it was a good question.
Yeah, that was good. I must have heard that recently.
Ray, you got a question for us?
Yeah, I'll go with a sneaky one. Who's 22nd on all-time rebounds list?
Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley.
There you go.
I got one.
You must.
Remember the name.
Well, now we're down to you, Uncle Doug.
All right, well, I'm going to steal a little Drew's thunder here. Oh, now. Sorry. What Drew mentioned Paul Rising earlier. What is he famous for?
The jump shot.
The jump
Yeah,
shot.
He was the first jump shooter.
You just wait till we all know about Polarizing. That's another great basketball
You
player.
can't even say his name right.
He shouldn't be on your list. Can't pronounce it. You're eliminated, bro.
You spelled Kawhi wrong on your list.
No one can see that though. You pronounced it wrong. I mixed up 2 letters. Shut up. I did spell it wrong.
Everybody got that right.
Everyone got that and Charles Oakley.
Good job on Charles Oakley, everybody.
You only announced it to everybody this 10 minutes ago.
You announced yours.
Well, it's a good memory question.
Yeah, but there's 5 of them.
All right.
got
Well,
4.
at the end of week 1,
You did eliminate everyone for everyone
Uncle
else.
Doug
and they
has
fucked it
1
up.
point. Ray has 2 points, and Wade, myself, and Drew have 3 points. So that's the scores for this week, and I guess we're gonna close up shop for the week. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your listen and any comments you want to give us. And next Thursday, we will kick off our second episode discussing James Worthy, or Big Game James. Ray will have to defend Big Game James, being the only one of the 5 of us to include him on his list. So good luck, Ray, next week.
Go Lakers.
As you can tell, but I was a Lakers fan.
Fuck the Lakers.
Wade's not. So we will see you next week. Sports the NEMO way.